So, my game looks kinda boring, right? Well, I'm gonna fix that in this video and show you how I went from this to this in just 2 weeks. I started planning out a second map. I wanted it to be pink or purple in color, but I couldn't really decide which I wanted more. I played around with it for a bit, but then I got sidetracked. And I wanted to make the grass look cool. So I made a shader that lets the grass sway in the wind. As you can tell, my first attempt didn't go very well. But I kept trying and I ended up with this. It looked alright, but now my grass model was starting to look a bit ugly, so I made a brand new model. And I scattered it around the other map. I adjusted the color and scale and I tested it out. I'm really happy with this if you ignore the roots moving, which I can't, but I'm gonna have to deal with it. But now it looks like the area is always super windy, so I tied the sway of the grass to how close the cloud is and used an animation curve to ramp up the movement the closer it got. This gave it a lot more of a believable effect and gave the rain a sense of strength, and also gave the player another way of seeing if the rain is coming, if they somehow missed the massive white cloud. I made the sky in the background have some stars, and I really didn't expect it to make the game look so much better. Then I added some particles that will slowly drift around the scene, sorta like fireflies, just to give it a little bit of ambiance. As I mentioned in my last video, I wanted to add a bird that would catch you if you didn't hide in time, so I started working on it. I started by making quite possibly the worst 3D model on Earth. I wanted the bird to go by you once, just looking around, and if you were not hidden, it would come back for a second time to eat you, but you could dodge it by hiding. I continued trying to destroy my reputation as a good 3D modeler, and once I was satisfied with how bad it looked, I took it into Unity and started working on the bird behavior. All I wanted to do at first was to make it fly by the camera, but he would not cooperate. So I tried again, and again, and again, and I finally had it going past the camera, scouting you out. I thought I was on the right track, so I tried to make it attack, and I broke it completely. And I soon realized that everything that it did before was just the start, and it was only gonna get worse. I designed the bird to waste the player's time, but I didn't expect it to start wasting mine. But then I fixed it. Well, I thought I did. This bird clearly had a mind of its own, and I couldn't let that happen. Okay, this time I have it. Never mind. This next time it did work, but don't ask what it was doing. And now I have it working. But I don't know about you, I wasn't very intimidated, because now it just looks like an airplane. So I went back to make a new model, and this is when I realized I'm terrible at making animal models, because it didn't take me 1, or 2, or 3 tries, but 4 tries to get it looking decent. I think I did a pretty good job this time, and I think I redeemed myself slightly for all the models I made before. Next, I added some bones to the model so that I could animate it. And I'm not saying I'm a great animator or anything, but I think it'll do the job for now. Once I finished the rough animation, I brought it into Unity and set it up. And this bird really doesn't like to cooperate with me, but now at least it doesn't look like a passenger plane. I added a simple material to it and I checked if everything worked. It seemed fine. I then went back into Blender and made a texture for it. I then added a couple new bones and polished the flying animation up. And this is how the bird currently looks. I think it looks quite intimidating, and I definitely think the new animation flows much better than the old one. The bird can now fly around and catch you if you're on the web, but you can avoid this by hiding. At the moment, if you do hide, the bird will kind of just fly into your web and disappear, but I will be changing this in the future. I wanted to revisit the rain because I let my friend play my game a few days ago, and when it began to rain, he put my phone down, leaned back, and said, "This is some great gameplay." And that hurt my ego. So since then, I've been trying to think of a way to rework the rain. So I decided to make it so that you don't need to hide, rather you need to dodge raindrops as they fall as a sort of minigame. I made the raindrops fall more often, and now you have to frantically run from one drop to the next as to not have your web be weighed down. You can also die if the raindrop hits you directly, so I made a red indicator to show where it will drop, to give you a chance to run away. And now I was feeling pretty good about the rain system. As I mentioned in my last video, subscribe. And if you have any friends, tell them about my channel. I then returned to working on the new map. These colors made my eyes burn, so I played around with the colors and got something I really liked. This color palette made it look like a peaceful night, somewhere out in the mountains. I love the look of this, and I think it gives the game a very peaceful atmosphere. I noticed that warmer colors just don't work very well for the background. For this map, I had the idea of giving the spider longer legs to make it travel faster, but also using more hunger in the process. This makes catching insects a lot easier, but makes catching them a lot more important too. I made the spider yellow to complement the purple background, and I made the web less dense because of the longer legs of the spider. I want this map to have a tree that occasionally drops leaves into the web, making it super heavy, and it will take a lot of time to knock them off. I didn't get time to make the feature, but I did make the model, and I set it up in the scene. I wanted the tree's colors to closely match the foreground. This also gives a nice separation between the foreground and the background. I adjusted the UV coordinates of the tree to work better with the shader, and then I added the wind shader from the grass onto the leaves to make it sway. When I was testing out the new map, I realized there were too many colors in the UI, and it takes away from the otherwise clean color palette that I have. So I made the decision to change the colors of the stats to the color of the spider, which looks great in my opinion, but I'm afraid that it makes the UI less readable. Let me know what you think. I also made a new poison icon because it didn't look very good. I finished the purple map off by adding some post-processing effect, and now I think it looks pretty complete. This is all I did since last devlog. Let me know what you think about how the game looks right now, and please tell me what the bird should do instead of despawning, because I honestly have no idea. Make sure to subscribe to stay tuned with the devlogs, and if you could like the video, that would be great, because it helps support my channel. That's it, thanks for watching.